Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. Highway shakedown artists in Tennessee. Yeah, law enforcement, so-called law enforcement. I don't know what it's going to take, but you people have got to understand, you cannot trust any government system. The only government you can trust is right there, what's in your heart, and that's it. That's the reason why Pastor Dow teaches you self-preservation. That's why Pastor Dow teaches you that you need to learn how to live simple and quiet. Because, hey, you're getting ready to see a video here that these cops would admit that if they do not get certain amount of cash from the traffic that's going up and down Interstate 40 because they say because of the drugs, that they will lose their jobs. Now, let's just tell the truth. If it wasn't for the White House, there wouldn't be no drugs in this country. Do you understand? If it wasn't for politicians, there wouldn't be no drugs in this country. Cocaine and heroin has always been a big money maker, big gigantic money maker. And of course, there's not a United States, a real true patriot, a real true United States citizen that does not have, hey, we all don't have no confidence. We don't have no confidence in our government or our law enforcement agents. We just don't have none at all, whatsoever at all. But these people are competing out there who can pull over the most people and extract the most money, unwarranted search and seizures. That's what it's all about. Now, hey, even if you get a lawyer today, he's already been trained by the same system he's getting ready to go in front of. So people, you're getting jacked when you don't have any recourse whatsoever at all here in this country. And I'm telling you, the United States is past what Mexico is. We're past fascism. We're past communism. We're just flat out, outright wicked and full of abominations. That's no other way to put it. There's no justice whatsoever in this land at all. I wonder if Alex Jones, Steve Quayle, Mark Dice, and RT have this information. If they don't have this information, y'all need to do everything you can to get this video out. You're getting ready to be shocked. This was just on local news no more than a few days ago. No more than a few days ago. Check this out.
Tonight, a major News Channel 5 investigation raises serious questions about Tennessee's war on drugs.
Among those questions, are some police agencies more concerned about making money off the drugs than stopping them?
Well, at the center of this months-long investigation are laws that let officers pull you over looking for cash. And get this, they don't even have to charge you with a crime to keep your money. As
News Channel 5 Chief Investigative Reporter Phil Williams discovered, those kinds of stops are now happening almost every day in Middle Tennessee.
What you're about to see is how police agencies across Tennessee make money. A tractor-trailer stopped for a traffic violation leads to a search and the discovery of large blocks containing almost $200,000 cash that officers keep on the suspicion that it's drug money.
What's wrong with having a large amount of cash?
Corwin Petrosian refuses to admit that there's anything suspicious about the stash that police discovered in the truck he owns. Officers later released his father, who is driving, without filing a single charge. And authorities cut a deal that let Petrosian come to Tennessee to get his big rig back.
If I am a criminal, if they allege me to be a criminal, why would they settle? They do not just let criminals go.
In general, it was seized because, based on our evidence and probable cause, it's illegal drug proceeds.
Still, DA Kim Helper admits what makes the Petrosian case a bit unusual is the location. The traffic stop occurred here in Smith County near the Carthage exit, but the officers work for Helper's 21st Judicial District Drug Task Force out of Franklin, more than an hour away. Her officers patrol that area under a deal where they give a cut of any cash they seize to the agency that owns that stretch of road.
It's a way to make money for your task force, honestly?
Well, you know, when you say make money, I guess it is a way for us to continue to fund our operations.
Do you have any large amounts of money, tiene mucho dinero en su truck y trailer?
In fact, Interstate 40 has become a major profit center for Tennessee law enforcement, with officers stopping and often searching out-of-state vehicles.
Is it okay that they...
It's okay, it's okay.
It's because of a state law that lets them seize money like the cash shown in these police photos, simply based on the suspicion that it's linked to drug trafficking. If an owner does not take legal action to get the money back, the agency gets to keep it all.
I mean, this is really highway shakedowns coming to the U.S.
Last year, a conservative-leaning group, the Institute for Justice, issued this report, Policing for Profit, that gave Tennessee a D- for civil forfeiture laws that make it all possible.
Under civil forfeiture, you give law enforcement a direct and perverse incentive to go out and try to take as much property from citizens as possible.
What we're doing, we're taking advantage of how the laws are, to use the money to be able to put back to fight the drugs.
Dixon Police Chief Ricky Chandler heads the board for the 23rd Judicial District Drug Task Force, which has made millions off of seizures in its counties, Humphreys, Dixon, and Cheatham.
Can I search your truck and trailer?
Then 3 years ago, Chandler and the Dixon County Sheriff helped create a second team known as Dixon Interdiction Criminal Enforcement, or DICE, to work the exact same stretches of interstate.
So everything's paid through seizures and fines.
So if these officers out on the interstate don't come up with cash, then they might lose their jobs.
Well, it's a possibility, yes.
Out here on the interstate, interdiction officers have a choice. Conventional wisdom is that the drugs come in from Mexico on the eastbound side, but the money goes back on the west. While both agencies have made some big drug cases, we spotted both the 23rd and DICE staging time and time again with their backs to the drug side. In fact, a review of daily activity sheets kept by the 23rd discovered that when officers noted the location of their traffic stops, there were 10 times as many on the money side.
We want both sides of the road worked.
It looks like that they're not concerned about stopping the drugs, that they just want the money.
That's what it looks like.
Is that the case?
And that shouldn't be the case, but that's what it looks like.
It shows that the police are really focusing not on trying to get the drugs, not on trying to enforce the drug laws and stop that flow throughout the country. They're focused on getting the money.
It ain't in the seat.
And it can lead to turf wars. After DICE got this $1 million seizure last fall, a DICE officer suddenly found himself being blocked in by a unit from the 23rd. Within minutes, 5 units from the 23rd are lined up in a show of force. Then there's this 2008 video where a unit from the 23rd cuts in front of a DICE unit on a stop, prompting this heated exchange.
Leave me the alone. Let me tell you something, punk. You ever come up me and try to wreck me out again, it'll be your last time, you understand?
And that's ridiculous for that to happen.
You've got two agencies fighting to stop the same cars.
Competition can be a good thing as long as you don't violate any person's rights.
But they're competing for the money that they can take off of drivers.
Well, they're competing to do their job.
Tiene mucho dinero en su truck?
It's a job that critics say has lost its way.
Law enforcement is supposed to be about getting the bad guys. It's not supposed to be about making money.
Now, law enforcement authorities say their goal is to hit the drug traffickers in the pocketbook, which undoubtedly they have. But some people have hired lawyers after their cash was taken, and sometimes after months and months of litigation, judges have ruled that the money really never had anything to do with drug dealing at all. Kristen.
You know, Phil, I'm sure a lot of people are surprised by two things. One, that officers can pull you over looking for cash.
That's right.
But then two, that they could take your money even though you're not charged with anything.
And get this, you know, it happens all the time, even when drivers might actually be involved in drug trafficking. Tomorrow night, we've got some incredible police video that you've got to see. In it, an officer tells a suspected drug courier that he can walk if he coughs up his cash. Here's a sneak peek.
Hey, I'm not asking you if you have knowledge about it, and I won't ask you if you have knowledge about it. You understand me? All I'm asking you is, where's the money?
Now, this is video that's going to cause a lot of talk and a lot of debate.
I am sure it will, Phil. All right, thanks a lot. As Phil mentioned, we've got much more online, including documents from the investigation on newschannel5.com. And also, do keep in mind, he's got more of his investigation on the way. As he mentioned, our highway shakedown's coming to Tennessee. That's tomorrow at 10.
And as if we just couldn't go from bad to worse, check this video out. Here's a video, and they're telling you what they already can anticipate what's getting ready to happen here in this country. They have the National Guard, the military, and they have so-called local law enforcement officials practicing riot control. Did y'all hear what I said? Yeah, you heard me right. riot control here in the United States of America, here, right here and now. I mean, tell you what, you better get around some people who you can trust with your life and your soul. I understand that only the Most High you can trust him with, and that's it. But there are still a few people, there are a few of us left that believe in honor, holiness, integrity, righteousness, and keeping the law of the Most High. There are a few of us that believe in morals and values. And that's the truth. This country, I mean, this is a sick society. Very sick. And you know how it got sick? Because of the people who are passing the so-called laws.
For the worst. Space Shuttle Discovery astronauts are just hours away from returning to Earth. And some folks in Wisconsin are afloat over this big bubbly beverage. News 7 at 11 is next.
Covering your hometown from newsrooms across the region. This is News 7 at 11.
The scenario was a fake, but the pepper spray and billy clubs used to break up this riot were definitely real. Good evening, I'm Miranda Stevens. Whether it's terrorism, riots, or any major disaster, local agencies will be the first to respond. That's why Roanoke City wants its disaster training to be as real as possible. Jeremy Butterfield has more.
It's supposed to look like a riot, and the scene at William Fleming High School had all the elements.
I'm one of the rioters that the guard and the police force had to take down and arrest, and did very successfully.
In this scenario, everyone has a role to play. The rioters were ready to fight back as Roanoke Police, Roanoke Fire, local National Guard troops, and members of the Virginia Defense Force secured perimeters and moved in to make the arrests.
Prior to 9/11, these organizations couldn't communicate and did not work together. They worked to support each other, but not together. And with the recent events of the last 3 to 5 years, we've become very good at working together, which is very important.
Of course, these weren't real rioters. The rebels in T-shirts were all members of one of the participating agencies, but you couldn't tell that during the exercise. If you weren't protected by an orange vest signifying you as an observer, you were in danger of being hit by eggs, bottles, billy clubs, or even the occasional well-placed round from a sniper.
We try to make this very real, give a real feel to it. We had the fire department provided some live burning out here, so we had smoke, flames, objects being thrown, a lot of chaos. There's going to be a lot of chaos in a civil disturbance situation, and that's what we want to try to incorporate as much as possible.
Teamwork plays a major role. Mountain Police had to coordinate with the fire department, while National Guard troops marched in formation toward the rioters. Without cooperation throughout all the agencies, the rioters would have quickly taken control.
I think everybody learned a little bit. Mistakes are made, but we'd rather make those mistakes here than in a real situation.
This was the 4th year the agencies have participated in this drill, and organizers say the old adage, practice makes perfect, certainly holds true in the face of disaster. Jeremy Butterfield, News 7, Roanoke.
Is this the type of society we've been reduced to, that we become a police state and there are no jobs but government jobs, military, police officer, that we will sell our souls cheap just in order to obtain a paycheck because we refuse to get out here and get a hoe in our hand and grow a garden and to live simple. We sell ourselves cheap for an immoral system that has no values, no righteousness whatsoever at all, just corruption from one end to the next. And every time you see a politician, I don't care who it is, in front of a camera, if their mouth is moving, they're lying. If the police officer's mouth is moving, they're lying. Time after time and time again, they're liars. They're caught in lies. And the system is built on lies. And you have these big corporations and these big law firms who actually support this immorality, all for the love of money. Don't sell your soul cheap. This is just a short space of time, and then it's over. And that's just the truth, at least for this country as we know it, and as this society as we know it. That's the truth. Because eternity is a long time. I hope that some way, somehow, that you can actually get some type of conviction in your heart. I hope that you're really, truly listening to me. Because I speak. Can't imagine. We're sitting up here in a country where cops in competition fighting each over money. Who they're going to pull over. The police state is increasing daily because they're the only jobs that's available. Our country is bankrupt. The only solution we have is a printing press. Get ready for quantitative easing 3. Nothing has changed. China is still selling off its treasury bonds. Nobody will lend us any money, no more in this country. The moral fabric is decaying. We're spiritually bankrupt as a society. The moral degradation is appalling. Theft, bribes, unwarrantless seizures of private property, coercion, lying under duress. Our modern day law system is nothing but a bunch of thieves.